Imagine waking up. It is absolutely freezing. You reach for the thermostat, except the thermostat has not been invented, and neither has the wall it hangs on, and neither has electricity, or your house, or the entire concept of being warm. Welcome to the Ice Age, a place where winter never quit, where the cold would make Antarctica file a complaint. This was the world 20,000 years ago at the coldest moment of the last glacial maximum. Giant sheets of ice covered the north, some of them 2 miles thick. They sat on what is now Canada. And on northern Europe, woolly mammoths wandered the plains, big, shaggy, furry tanks with tusks. And in the middle of all this, small groups of humans appeared. They looked at the frozen hellscape, and they just shrugged. They said, "Yeah, we live here now. Here is the thing nobody tells you. These people had no central heating, no down jackets, no fleece, no little heated blanket with 3 settings. If they got cold, they had 2 options: solve it or die. And with basically nothing, they solved it so well that we are still here to talk about it. Let us start with the house, because in some places the Ice Age had a small problem. There were no trees at all. You cannot build a cabin with 0 logs. So the humans looked around, and the only material for miles was mammoths. Specifically, dead ones. And that is how you get the most metal building in history, the mammoth bone hut. In Ukraine, archaeologists found these homes, built almost entirely of mammoth skeletons, bones and tusks of dozens of mammoths, all for a single house. One home used the remains of around 95 different animals. The builders took huge mammoth skulls, they jammed them into the frozen ground. That was the foundation. They stacked long bones for the walls and flat shoulder blades too. They curved the tusks over the top to hold down a roof of hides. The result was a round dome, a bone fortress, that shrugged off the worst wind on Earth. And here is the truly wild part. This bone house was used for up to 429 years. That is not a camping shelter. That is a family home, older than most countries, made entirely of the guys they had for dinner. Okay, so you have got a house. Now you have to go outside, into the murder cold, to hunt. And our ancestors were not dumb cavemen. They were not grunting at rocks. They were high-tech clothing engineers. Loose fur is nice, but it does not stop freezing rain. And wet clothing in the Ice Age was a death sentence, so they invented something new, the world's first waterproof jacket. And they made it from guts. Yes, intestines. You take the intestines of a seal, or a walrus, or a whale, you clean them, you inflate them like a balloon, and you dry them out. You get a material thin and light and completely waterproof. They cut it into strips and sewed a hooded parka. The membrane blocked water from getting in, but it still let sweat escape right through from the inside. They invented breathable rain gear, made from intestines, thousands of years before a chemist did it in a lab. But a jacket is only as good as its seams, so they sewed with animal sinew, strong thread pulled from tendons, using a tiny needle carved from bone. With a little eye for the thread, some of these bone needles are over 40,000 years old, and the sinew had a secret trick. When it got wet, it swelled up and plugged its own needle holes. The clothing was self-waterproofing, and then there is the fat. To these people, fat was fuel, and fat was insulation. They ate enormous amounts of it, because in that cold, your body burns calories like a furnace. They smeared grease on their skin. To block the biting wind, they burned fat in stone lamps, for light and warmth. Fat was their thermal underwear, their snack, and their light bulb. So let us zoom out. No heating, no power, no stores, no doctors. Just a frozen planet, trying its hardest to kill them. And they answered with bone mansions, and gut raincoats, and self-sealing stitches, and a life powered by grease. We call them primitive. But you, in your heated apartment, would last one afternoon. They lasted an entire ice age. And every cozy thing you wear right now, they thought of it first.